This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Dana Kozlov.
And I'm Audrina Sinclair. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Right now at 9, we are in weather alert mode as some strong storms are moving through the Chicago area later today. Laura and our First Alert team tracking it all, and we'll break down the timeline for you and the areas we're looking at.
And a heavy police scene in Aurora as officers investigate a shooting. You can see at least one car seems to be hit, and right now we are learning it happened during a traffic stop.
And we are following the latest developments out of Gaza this morning as a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas comes to an end.
We'll have all of those stories for you in just a moment, but let's start with meteorologist Laura Bannon for an update on the severe weather that is on the way.
Yeah, so things really hasn't changed since earlier this morning, but the latest update that we got in the wee part of the day was this upgraded risk for severe weather. Level 3 risk on a scale of 1 to 5, covering our southernmost counties out toward the Chicago metro area. But the rest of Chicago to northwest Indiana under that level 2 risk. All modes of severe weather on the table for this afternoon. Here's a look at the radar. Things are starting to get a little busy as expected. We're expecting a couple of showers here this morning. We already have a severe thunderstorm warning right on the state line there out near Davenport. That's mostly for a hail producer there. So it is possible that we'll continue to maintain those thunderstorms as they race off toward the north and east. This line right here that's now clipping a portion of LaSalle County, that shouldn't really squeeze out anything severe in that direction, but we do have a few showers going out there that's now approaching LaSalle. That's going to be moving to the north and east to give everyone at least a brief shower chance here this morning. That severe weather threat will go up for the second half of the day, mostly by 3-4 o'clock is when we'll turn our attention to that. Where you live is feeling completely different from north to south. Kankakee 58, we have 58 Joliet, also 40s out toward O'Hare. It's 43 degrees. So we've got this boundary just draped right on top of us that's separating where it's cold and where it's rather warm. Rest of the day today, we're going to go up into the 60s for highs, a little bit cooler farther north. We'll watch these thunderstorms erupt for the afternoon, mostly by 2-3 o'clock. We really get into the thick of it by 6 o'clock this evening. So we'll track that line of thunderstorms and the snow that follows for tomorrow coming up in my next report.
All right, Laura, thank you. And now we turn to your nonstop news. A shooting during a traffic stop puts a neighborhood on lockdown in west suburban Aurora.
It's been going on since about 3 o'clock this morning. Our Marissa Perlman joins us live now from that area where an investigation is still underway. Good morning, Marissa.
Good morning to both of you. Yeah, on-scene police are investigating what they're calling the shots fired incident, though it's not exactly clear who is involved in this. Though going on 5 hours later, Broadway still roped off, deputies on scene at the intersection exactly where the shooting happened early this morning. We want to go right to video from CBS Skywatch, which gives you a good perspective of the scene from above. You can see that black Honda sedan there with most of its windows shut out. There's some sort of debris on the ground marked off with evidence markers as well. That car surrounded by 5 squad cars, all of those cars, including the police cruisers, all roped off as if they're a part of that crime scene. Now, investigators with flashlights were seen here looking in the front and back seat of that sedan. Aurora police, as you mentioned, now confirming that this started as a traffic stop, and we're told multiple agencies were involved in that traffic stop. We're now waiting for more information on that from the Kane County Major Crimes Task Force. They are taking the lead on this investigation. Now, we know this incident happened sometime before 3 this morning. On Broadway here around this crime scene, there are several businesses. There is a restaurant, a small market. There are also several homes on this street. This is adjacent to the Spring Lake Memorial Gardens Cemetery. Now, the crime scene investigation is expansive. Broadway between Evans and Ashland is still closed, along with other side streets around it. And police are now asking anyone who lives or works in this area to travel around the crime scene, to take alternate routes so that they can stay here and really continue their investigation. We're going to be checking in with the Major Crimes Task Force here shortly. We'll see if we can bring you an update on exactly what happened here early this morning. For now, we're live in Aurora. I'm Marissa Perlman, CBS News Chicago.
Marissa, thank you. A man is in critical condition this morning after he was shot in the city's Austin neighborhood. Chicago police say a 25-year-old man was shot several times near Crystal and Lockwood. Police think he may have been in this white car. It was found crashed into 2 parked cars about a block away on Potomac. No one's been arrested. And remember that close call at Midway Airport last month? Well, we now know why the Southwest plane and business jet came within 175 feet of each other. The captain of the business jet told federal investigators, the glare from the sun interfered with their view, and they lost track of where they were on the airfield.
As we keep an eye on your world, for the first time in 15 years, officials in Louisiana carried out an execution. Jesse Hoffman was the first death row inmate to be executed in Louisiana using nitrogen gas. The state's Department of Public Safety and Corrections called the process, quote, flawless. Hoffman was convicted of the 1996 rape and murder of Molly Elliott. Well, Gaza on edge this morning after Israel resumed airstrikes, officially ending a 2-month ceasefire. And just about 30 minutes ago, the United Nations said an international staffer was killed and 5 others wounded in an early morning explosion.
Yesterday was the deadliest day in more than 15 months as Israel renewed military operations, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says it's only the beginning. At least 400 people were killed, many of them children. Hundreds more were wounded. The airstrikes come as talks on further hostage releases stalled. That's according to officials on both sides. Israel says Hamas refuses to release the remaining hostages, while Hamas blames Israel, saying it's fully responsible for violating and overturning the ceasefire. The director of a Palestinian aid program describes what Palestinians are experiencing as the war resumes.
There is absolutely shock over here. People had already been suffering from war, and then you had the blockade. Commodities have been becoming increasingly more and more expensive day by day. I mean, just to give you an example, when I came into Gaza, potatoes were roughly $1.3 a kilogram, and now it's around $15 a kilogram. So it's becoming unaffordable for people.
And overnight, hundreds of Israelis marched on a main highway towards Netanyahu's office. Protesters say the ending of the ceasefire puts the remaining hostages at risk. Now, a group representing the hostages also released a statement yesterday condemning Netanyahu's decision to resume fighting.
No justice, no peace. We know your name.
And here at home, dozens of protesters came together in the West Loop yesterday, also demanding an end to Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. The group Chicago Coalition for Justice in Palestine organized this event called Hands Off Gaza. This event was held outside the Israeli consulate near the OLV Transportation Center.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he plans to speak with President Donald Trump today. He says they'll discuss Mr. Trump's call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, along with the next steps as the U.S. tries to negotiate a peace deal between the two countries. Zelensky also said Putin's agreement to stop striking energy infrastructure were, quote, very much at odds with reality. And the progress overseas comes as the Trump administration faces multiple battles in the courts.
That led to a rare public rebuke and statement from Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. Jared Hill has the latest for us.
We want to get it over with.
On Fox News, President Donald Trump appeared optimistic about the prospect of ending Russia's war in Ukraine after a nearly 2-hour call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday.
You have a lot of guns pointing at each other, and a ceasefire without going a little bit further would have been tough. Russia has the advantage, as you know.
The Kremlin said Russia agreed to a prisoner swap with Ukraine. The White House says Putin also agreed to a 30-day ceasefire on energy and infrastructure targets, but under the condition that all foreign aid and intelligence sharing to Ukraine come to an end. On social media, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky posted Putin effectively rejected the proposal for a full ceasefire. It would be right for the world to respond by rejecting any attempts by Putin to prolong the war. At home, the White House is in another battle with the courts. President Trump called for a federal judge to be impeached after he temporarily blocked the administration's attempts to detain and deport non-citizens they say are gang members using the Alien Enemies Act. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, in a rare statement, wrote impeachment is not an appropriate response to disagreement concerning a judicial decision. Also Tuesday, one federal judge ordered DOJ to stop further actions to dismantle USAID. A second halted the EPA's efforts to cancel billions of dollars in climate grants. And another temporarily blocked the Department of Defense from barring transgender troops, calling the order unconstitutional. The decision will likely be appealed. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Another pushback this morning against diversity, equity, and inclusion from the Trump administration. An NPR report highlighted a memo issued last month removing a ban on segregated facilities for federal contractors, impacting things like restaurants, drinking fountains, and waiting rooms. The U.S. General Services Administration memo says that government agencies no longer need to put wording about the prohibition of segregated facilities in any solicitations or contracts they write up. Well, finally home. A happy homecoming for two astronauts finally back on Earth after being stranded in space for 9 months. An update on how they're doing now.
And the Federal Reserve will make its next decision about interest rates today. Our money expert joins us with a preview of what to expect, including whether the up and down stock market will have an impact.
And our first storms of the day are going up across parts of the area. Looking out toward LaSalle County, nothing severe right now, but downpours and clouds around lightning are going to be some of the main threats. This batch is not what we're worried about today when we look at severe weather. We'll track this round of rain and also look ahead toward that main band of thunderstorms coming up in your first alert forecast.
This has been 9 months in the making, and I couldn't be prouder of our team's versatility, our team's ability to adapt and really build for the future of human spaceflight.
A major moment for astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams as they finally returned to Earth after they were stranded on the International Space Station for 9 months.
Ooh, they were part of the crew that splashed down here off the coast of Florida. This was just last night. Now, Wilmore and Williams are now in Houston. They'll spend a couple of days getting acclimated back on Earth here before they finally get to go home to their family.
I bet you they cannot wait for that. Karen Hua is also in Houston with more on their long-awaited return.
A Houston homecoming. Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunny Williams reunited with loved ones hours after their return from a 286-day space odyssey.
Splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
The SpaceX Dragon carrying Wilmore and Williams, along with Crew 9 Commander Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov, splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida at just before 6 p.m. yesterday.
Some happy waves, smiles all around.
A pod of dolphins swam nearby as the recovery team pulled the capsule out of the water and later assisted the 4 crew members as they climbed out. In Williams' hometown in Massachusetts, residents gathered to root for her return.
We all kind of feel relieved that she's safe.
Wilmore and Williams are expected to spend a day or two here in Houston at the Johnson Space Center as medical staff evaluate how they're readjusting to the pull of gravity back on Earth.
Ignition.
The 2 astronauts launched on the first human test flight of the Boeing Starliner in June of last year. But the vessel developed propulsion problems and, for safety reasons, returned to Earth without them, stretching their planned 8-day mission to 9 months. It was a SpaceX vessel that finally brought them home after it carried their replacements to the ISS.
And it shows the benefits of the commercial public-private partnership that we have.
During their extended mission, Williams set a spacewalk record for women astronauts. NASA says she and Wilmore also conducted more than 150 experiments. Karen Hua, CBS News, Houston.
NASA officials say the experiments they conducted include using stem cell technology to potentially address blood diseases, autoimmune disorders, and cancers.
The Federal Reserve is meeting today and will announce its latest decision on interest rates.
That's right. Here with a preview is CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Good morning, Jill. I know in December the Fed cut rates. What is expected today, especially with all that's been going on with the markets in the last few weeks, too?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do much, and that would mean that the federal funds rates will remain at 4.25% to 4.5%. Very good news if you're a saver. You're still getting high interest on those savings accounts and money markets. Bad news for borrowers, I'm afraid to say. So people with credit card balances and new auto loans. Now, the reason that the Fed's probably not going to do anything is that we should believe what Chairman Powell said. He said we do not need to be in a hurry. And he said that the Fed is well positioned to wait for greater clarity. Clarity for what, you ask? Well, I think the Fed is really trying to figure out whether or not the Trump tariffs might slow down the growth rate of the economy or potentially create inflation. Right now, there's no evidence of either, so that's why the Fed is just going to stay where they are.
Did Powell express any concern about the recent drops in the stock market?
I doubt it, because, these swings in the markets, the Fed really doesn't care about it unless it is a sign of underlying economic instability. Just think back 5 years ago with COVID, when markets were plummeting, it was really a sign that the entire global economy was frozen shut. Now, the Fed might get involved if there is some, I don't know, we think of it as functioning of the market, that if, there's just people walking away, there are no buyers, then the Fed might step in. But we are far from that situation right now. We are seeing a pretty orderly market. We are seeing the economic data might be showing some slowdown, but it's not showing that we are in some sort of economic collapse. So I think the Fed basically is going to say, sorry for your investment loss. We're concentrating on the economy now.
We know the Fed does not control mortgage rates per se, but what's behind the recent drop, and will housing become more affordable in the near future?
We always wish that, don't we? Well, listen, mortgage rates have come down a bit. We're down at around, let's call it 6.5 to 6.75% for 30-year fixed rate loans. But the rates, they didn't come down for a wonderful reason at all. What happened was longer-term bond investors really do worry that the economy is going to slow down. So longer-term interest rates, the ones that are just based on supply and demand, those interest rates have fallen, and that has pushed down mortgage rates. Usually that would lead to a more affordable situation, but unfortunately, we do have a concern that tariffs on lumber, aluminum, and steel, that could make building or renovating a home more expensive. So the rising cost of construction materials could add up to $9,200 for a new home. That's according to the National Association of Home Builders. So unfortunately, I don't think that drop in mortgage rates really means that would-be buyers are going to be able to afford more.
All right, Jill, thanks for the insight. As always, we appreciate it. Good to see you this morning. And you can always get more of that good insight on CBS Mornings. Jill's there a lot.
Well, with spring around the corner, really kind of tomorrow, Brookfield Zoo is planning some new family-friendly experiences. The zoo's launching its first ever Spring Fest in April, though. It will feature live performances, an art fair, kids crafts, and of course, your favorite animals. You can also brunch with the bunny on April 19th and 20th, plus the Black World Gala is coming up, and in May, a special Mother's Day brunch. And for adults only, Zoo Uncorked kicks off, offering themed cocktails and live music after hours. You can learn more and get tickets on the Brookfield Zoo website.
That's a lot of fun stuff happening at the zoo.
Yeah.
I'm like Uncorked, we got Mother's Day, all kinds of stuff going on.
Brunch with a bunny or whatever it was.
That's always a good time.
I know, I'm like, sign me up for that. Yeah. All right, 9:20 now. First alert weather. We got this weather alert in place. Yep. I know you guys have been helping us time out what to expect for the rest of the day.
Yes, and we've got some thunderstorms going up right now. Non-severe, couple close in the vicinity, so let's go into it. This is not the round of thunderstorms that we're concerned about for at least that big severe weather threat that we've been pointing to. But a couple of storms are going up to the far southwest. That part of the forecast is on track. We're likely going to see a couple of showers before that main band of thunderstorms comes through. So right now, some showers and non-severe thunderstorms are developing. Between 2 p.m. 9 o'clock is when we have that greater threat for severe weather. All modes of severe weather on the table here, including the potential for multiple tornadoes. Here's our storm system here. You have snow on the backside. We're eventually going to get that, just not today. We're on the warm side of the system and the unsettled side of the system. So we already have a couple of warnings out effect into the far northwest corner of the state there. If that can hold together, it is possible parts of Lee and Ogle County will likely get under a severe thunderstorm warning this morning, just west of DeKalb. Keeping an eye on that live camera out toward DeKalb here this morning. Just seeing that the skies are really dark in that direction. Now, we do have some rain and some embedded thunderstorms out across LaSalle County. Looks like that's running out of gas there, but you can see those thunderstorms not too far behind where we do have those two severe thunderstorm warnings right there. So that line of thunderstorms is going to lift up toward the north and east there, so clipping areas like Byron, Rockford here this morning. A couple of showers too, that's out across LaSalle County. That's going to be moving into at least our far southwest burbs here this morning. The severe weather threat, the focus is all of Chicago, but we do raise our eyebrows to the south. south, where we've got a greater risk for tornadoes, potentially significant parameters here, where we could be looking at tornadoes greater than an EF2 here today. So that's they'll turn your attention, especially if we get all these right ingredients. That's always the big element here. But it does look like we break out into more sunshine by the afternoon, so that's going to help fuel up the atmosphere, help this line of thunderstorms really start to intensify, swinging through by 5-6 o'clock here in Chicago. Then we still have a couple of showers left over through the rest of the night. But then comes the backside of the system, the cold side. Snow is going to come through. The winds are going to be strong, so we're looking at wind-whipped snow tomorrow morning, and also some travel concerns. Accumulations, not much. Half an inch, maybe upwards of 2 inches of snow. Likely not going to stick around for long, though, as we head back up into the 50s for Friday.
All right, Laura, thank you so much. Well, a leader in education honored in Aurora. Meet the woman making history as the first Black woman to lead a school in the city.
Dana and Audrina, welcome to the Piccadilly Market in Lincoln Square. This is so cute. If you don't have time, maybe you were stuck on the Kennedy or something, but you still want to grab a cup of coffee, well, they actually have a quick service window outside where you can ring the doorbell for service. You can also get ice cream as well from Pretty Cool Ice Cream in Logan Square. Hey, it's Isaac again. High five. Yeah, okay. Long time no see. I can't take any more coffee, but maybe I'll just take a cup of water this morning because the backlot coffee is very highly caffeinated. Amazing stuff. Thank you so much for your time. I love it. One more high five for the road. All right, coming up in about 20 minutes, we're going to be heading back inside the market, and we're going to be showing off some of the amazing local brands that they have, their marquee brands, and we'll also show you a couple of their international favorites as well. We'll see you right after the break.
Welcome back, everyone. The city of Aurora is celebrating the first Black woman to lead a school in city and county history.
Yep, last night officials honored Dr. Jennifer Norrell, the outgoing superintendent of East Aurora School District 131. She's been at the district since 2018, and the city honored her with the mayor proclaiming February 24th as Dr. Jennifer Norrell Day. She's leaving Aurora to return to her home as superintendent of Homewood Flossmoor High School District 233. Well, next at 9:30, Governor J.B. Pritzker kicking off a tour called Stand Up for Illinois.
Why he's addressing farmers first. And Mahmoud Khalil is speaking out about his arrest over his role in pro-Palestine campus protests. What he's saying as a local organization holds a protest in his support today.
And the Tokyo series continues, and so does the Cubs' quest to score more runs. How they're stacking up against the defending World Series champs, the Dodgers.
This is CBS News Chicago.
Good morning. Great to be with you. I'm Audrina Sinclair.
And I'm Dana Kozlov. It is 9:30. Thanks so much for staying with us on this Wednesday.
And we are in weather alert mode this morning, keeping an eye on severe storms expected to hit the Chicago area later today.
There's a lot to track. So let's start with meteorologist Laura Bannon.
Yeah, definitely a lot to track. Maybe not so much right now. We do have some thunderstorms on the horizon. It's sunny. It's a bit of a divide in our temperatures depending on where you live. But let's talk about this afternoon severe weather threat. This area right here is the newest information and the upgrade that we got from the Storm Prediction Center, a level 3 risk on a scale of 1 to 5. The rest of the area remains unchanged, level 2, a slight risk. But this area here is where we'll be watching for significant severe weather threat today, including multiple tornadoes, damaging winds potentially in excess of 70 miles per hour, and also a large hail threat. But as those storms move across Chicago, we're still holding all those hazards with that line of thunderstorms. Here's where we stand right now. Chicago is quiet. Got a couple of showers. We did have some thunderstorms out across a portion of LaSalle County. Looks like those ran out of gas, so just plain rain there. But what we're watching is this really intense line of thunderstorms. Had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We currently have one right now. So if this can hold together, likely just going to completely miss or come very close to our far northwestern counties of the viewing area while sliding up into portions of Wisconsin here this morning. So we're not concerned about that line of thunderstorms in terms of that big severe weather threat. It's going to be in the afternoon that we see that next line of storms come through. And here's what I'm talking about with these temperatures. It's all just dependent on where you live. 46 Midway, 43 Waukegan, and McHenry. It's 47 at Aurora. Jump down to Will County. Joliet sitting at 60 this morning. It's 60 Kankakee. So we'll talk more about that severe weather threat that we're expecting here this afternoon going into the evening and the snow. I just don't have enough time right now. Back to you guys.
Oh my goodness. So so much to talk about.
Yeah.
We'll see you a little bit later for the rest of those details. Right now, police still searching for a woman accused of shooting and killing a woman at a Red Line stop.
It happened at the 69th Street stop last night. Darius Johnson is live at Chicago Police Headquarters right now. And Darius, police say this all started as an argument.
Yeah, that's right. Between two women, and the woman who fired that deadly shot was able to get away from the train station, and police have not been able to catch her. However, we all know there are many cameras at these CTA train stations, so hopefully that surveillance video can possibly help police catch this woman. This shooting happened close to 10 o'clock last night on the platform of the CTA Red Line at 69th Street. That's on the city's south side. Chicago police tell us a woman between the age of 25 and 35 years old was arguing with another woman on the platform. It's unclear how this argument even started. They say the other woman pulled out a gun, shot the other woman in the neck, and ran off. The woman was injured and taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where she later died. Now, in this video, you see plenty of officers from the Chicago Police Department canvassing along the platform as trains were halted. We've blurred this video for you right here because at one point you can see what appears to be a plastic bag, a black plastic bag from a gas station or a convenience store that is lying in a pool of blood right there on the platform. Back out here live this morning, this shooting on this platform comes nearly 4 weeks after the last shooting on the CTA Red Line. That shooting happened at 35th Street right near the Sox Stadium. In that incident, it was a 30-year-old man and a 13-year-old boy who were both shot and injured late at night, just like this incident. And in both of these incidents, Chicago police say no one is in custody. But again, it all begs the question of what will CTA do about the crime that continues to happen throughout public transit here in the city. For now, I'm Darius Johnson, live at Chicago Police Headquarters, CBS News Chicago.
Darius, thanks so much. Appreciate that report. Well, the Dan Ryan is back open after reports of a shooting overnight on the Expressway. State police have not given us any info at this hour, but you can see troopers walking in a line with flashlights as they look for evidence. You can also see squad cars blocking off the northbound lanes near 87th Street. Police radio reports say no one was injured, but that a car was hit by gunfire. We're working to confirm that information as well.
State police shut down the expressway so firefighters could battle a large brush fire just west of I-57 and north of Flossmoor Road. It's a thickly wooded area, and fire crews had to use ATVs to get back to where the fires were burning near Country Club Hills. State police say the flames were out and lanes reopened around 1:30 this morning.
The Chicago chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations is planning to speak out about the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil. Officials with CARE will speak at a city council committee meeting this morning. Khalil was arrested on March 8th after leading protests at Columbia University over the Israel-Hamas war. Federal officials say he was supporting Hamas. And we heard from Khalil for the first time yesterday. He told his family that he was a political prisoner and arrested for advocating for a, quote, free Palestine. And federal workers are protesting today in Chicago as the Trump administration continues to cut jobs and shrink the federal government. Today at noon, workers in the National Treasury Employees Union will gather outside the federal building near Jackson and Dearborn. This union represents federal workers in 37 different departments and agencies. And in protest of Elon Musk, someone lit several Teslas on fire at a dealership in Las Vegas. At least 5 cars were burned, 3 were shot at, and a Molotov cocktail that never ignited was also found inside one of the cars. The word resist was also spray painted across that Tesla service center. The FBI is now investigating. Now, this follows a string of protests against Tesla owner Elon Musk, who leads President Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, which has cut jobs at numerous government agencies. CBS Skywatch was over a protest yesterday in West Suburban Lisle. More than 100 people were outside a dealership for what they call a, quote, Tesla takedown.
Governor J.B. Pritzker will be in Champaign today to push back on the Trump administration, and he's holding an event as part of his Stand Up for Illinois tour. He'll be holding a roundtable with agricultural leaders and Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski to talk about how the Trump administration's cuts are specifically impacting Illinois farmers. The roundtable starts at 1:30. And we'll hear about the impact traffic stops have on people in Chicago later today. The Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability is holding a special meeting tonight about this. The group group will share the results of its research after talking to community members and the police department. The meeting starts at 6 at the Tillon High School on Union Avenue in Canaryville. And down in Springfield, homeschooling is the topic of a hearing happening right now in the House Education Policy Committee. This hearing focused on a bill that would require homeschool administrators to tell the local school district if a child is enrolled in homeschool. If they don't, the student can be declared truant and face punishment. Well, fans who got up early to watch the Cubs in Japan today might be wishing they maybe opted just to sleep in.
Yeah, the Cubs bats woke up, but that didn't equal a ton of runs. Cubs ace Justin Steele was on the mound, but he struggled, giving up 5 runs, 2 on homers. The Cubs tagged Dodgers pitchers for 8 hits, but only mustered up 3 runs, losing 6-3, dropping both games of the Tokyo series to the defending World Series champions. While this was technically game 2 of the regular season, the Cubs will return to Sloan Park in Arizona for 5 final spring training games. The regular season starts for the rest of the MLB next Thursday. And it might be the best part of the new baseball season each year at Rate Field on the south side.
Yeah, today the Sox will show off what's new, not in the ballpark about baseball, but food for 2025. And we're not kidding when we go on and on about the food there. Today at the store there, concessions partners Delaware North and Levy Restaurants will highlight some of the new things that you can try at the ballpark next time you catch a Sox game. Also, we'll find out all about the fan promotions at the White Sox celebrate their 125th anniversary as a franchise this year.
The food is good at Sox Park.
I mean, whenever you go to a game, like, I don't know, I'm always trying to plan out
what you're going to eat.
Intake. Yeah, I'm like, all right, so I want to get a hot dog first inning.
And then in this inning, I'm going to try this.
I got some ice cream.
I like that. I like it.
Well, next we're talking about new plans for a Chicago business with a pretty tough past.
How a pastor is hoping to transform this once liquor store into a new corner of life.
And in today's Jumpstart, we're at a new market full of specialty food and drinks and teas and coffee, all from all across the Chicago area.
Well, we're tracking some showers and thunderstorms in the area here this morning. We're still on alert for the risk of thunderstorms here this afternoon that will likely turn severe. We'll track those severe thunderstorms and the snow for tomorrow morning in your first alert forecast.
In today's Jumpstart, we are at a new specialty market, putting several local businesses all under one roof.
Yeah, Piccadilly Market's one-stop shop recently opened in Lincoln Square. Jackie Kostek joining us live now with all that we can find there, and it looks like we can find a lot.
Oh, Dana and Audrina, you can find so much. I love, too, that Piccadilly Market, as soon as you walk in the door, there's fresh flowers, and there's also fresh bread from Publican. So really, some of your favorite local spots, like you said, all under one roof. And I will say, my body has finally leveled out on that caffeine front. I had an oat milk latte from Backlot Coffee here, and man, I was just off on another planet for a little bit, but thankfully I've come back down to earth, just like the astronauts yesterday. Okay, I'm here with Charles Schneider this morning. Charles, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you're the manager here of the store. Talk a little bit about what you guys were trying to accomplish with Piccadilly Market.
Yeah, so a very unique concept where, as you met from Backlot,
yes,
there are partners.
Yeah.
Rare Tea and Roderick Marcus are partners. Dana with Pretty Cool, they're our partners.
Yes.
And then under that umbrella, then we serve, some amazing spirits, wine,
yes,
beer, cider, and a few local and not so local gourmet products as well.
I love
a little bit for everything. Awesome chocolate selection.
Yes.
Conservas, so we're more like restaurant people, and we just kind of opened a store that would be for people that like to go to restaurants, I guess.
I was going to say, all of your favorite finds
a little bit,
are,
yeah.
Yes, which it's good culture and good things that you can discover.
Yeah.
I was back in the liquor department earlier because I spent a long time on the Kennedy this morning. You got to hit the liquor department if you're heading on the Kennedy anytime.
It's wild out there.
Right, it is wild. But you've got brands from Ireland, from Africa, from Chicago too. Talk a little bit about the wines that you have in front of us.
Yeah, so every Wednesday we do an in-store tasting from 6 to 8. Please come in. Say
I love
hi
it.
tonight.
And it's free.
It's free, yeah. And tonight I'm highlighting some friends of mine. 2 are going to be from Michigan, in fact.
Nice.
From Max Eiberg and his wife, Sydney, Stranger Wine Company.
Okay.
And they do some super cool stuff. And then also this Responsible Hedonist is a former sommelier here in Chicago, Diana Hawkins, sorry. And she and her partner are making wine in New Zealand. And we'll showcase her Syrah tonight.
I love that. So really from all over the world and from our backyard too. The cheeses. I mean, this was maybe the first thing that I saw this morning when I walked in the door, aside from the flowers, is the Jardinera pimento cheese. But then you've also got some things that you can only find in Spain. I mean, the fact that you can find it here in Chicago, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah, so everyone knows like charcuterie. You can do the same thing with fish, and the conserva tin fish has just really blown up over the last couple years, and I love them, and I love highlighting them, and we have some really great purveyors that bring us some really good stuff. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Those wine events, the wine tasting happening every Wednesday from 6 to 8 here at Piccadilly Market. Charles, thank you so much for your time this morning. He also knows wine. He's a sommelier too, trained sommelier, so that's a pretty big deal. Can't not mention the sandwiches as well, and hopefully at some point you can actually maybe get those from the window outside too. But at this point, it's coffee and ice cream. But look at how delicious those sandwiches are. So Dana and Audrina, I'm going to send it back to you. But we've been eating well. We've been drinking some good coffee. I might have to walk home with one of these Jardinera pimento cheeses too.
If you love us,
I know. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. That's true, and I do love you guys. I do love you. So yes, I will wrap these up for you. I will wrap them up.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, I want
we were like Jardinera
I want
pimento
that cheese so bad.
We're gonna have to like rock paper scissors for that cheese.
We're like ration it off like it's our last meal.
Yes.
You get a scoop. You
I
get a
really
scoop.
hope I win.
I would not want to play you in arm wrestling.
Oh no.
I don't want
No,
to
it's
play that
all
game.
rock paper scissors, everybody.
Yeah. When you said that, I thought of. Okay. Anyways, all right.
I'm actually kind of flattered. Do you think that though?
Yeah, Laura. I seen you lift weights. I've been in the gym with you.
Yeah, that's true. Last week.
Yeah, last week. I don't want to. She's like, okay. Weather alert.
Yeah, I know. We got to pivot.
We got to pivot. We got some serious weather.
Yeah, we do. And some thunderstorms that's going up. We've had a couple of warnings to the far corner of the state. May clip our far northwest counties here this morning. So that's what we'll be watching. But this system is covering a lot of mileage here. You can see on the backside there all the snow, and right along that path we actually have blizzard warnings in effect. We'll eventually get snow. We're just not getting a blizzard out of all this, but the winds are going to be pretty awful while the snow is falling here across Chicago. So right now, here's a closer look at what's happening around the region. We're dry in Chicago. Had a couple of showers and thunderstorms that bubbled up just south and west of LaSalle County. As we move in closer, you can see all that ran out of gas there. So just a couple of downpours and passing showers in that direction. Where things have really intensified as we scoot farther off toward the north and off toward the west, there is a band of thunderstorms. It did trigger a couple of severe thunderstorm warning. The main tag on those thunderstorms was just for large hail there. Kind of a tricky setup right now where it's positioned because we're in the middle of all of these sites right now. So the radar view looking a little tricky right now. But nonetheless, the big message here is that these thunderstorms are moving off toward the north and east, may clip a portion of DeKalb County and also out toward McHenry. So biggest threat right there would be heavy rain and that hail threat and perhaps some gusty wind there. We've got a whole lot of wind with this system as well. Going into tonight, a wind advisory goes into effect and stays in place until 7 in the morning with some gusts as high as 40-45 miles per hour. And during this time, we are expecting snow to be falling here across Chicago. What a crazy turn in the weather pattern over the next 24. Couple of showers here this morning. By 3 o'clock, this is when we'll see the turn and the atmosphere starting to fire up for these thunderstorms to move through. As we see this line by 3, 4, 5 o'clock here, we could see this broken in some places. So that's really going to help intensify some of these thunderstorms and also amp that tornado threat that we've been talking about here today, especially for areas farther south. Damaging wind, hail, all on the table today with this line of thunderstorms. We'll clear out by 8 o'clock. Still have a couple of showers out there, but at least that storm threat is over. But we're not done with this storm. We are still looking at some snow in the early morning hours. Here's your timestamp by midnight. Swings on through, clearing out by 6, 7 in the morning. If you're traveling during this time period, you've got some really awful winds with that, so visibility is going to be really nasty. We're also looking at some slushy accumulations there. A couple of inches, especially farther off toward the west and north there. Colder feel tomorrow, 41 degrees. Nice feel on Friday with a high of 57. Down again to the 40s on Saturday. Temperatures recover to the middle upper 40s for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But then we do look at a couple of opportunities for rain. Late Sunday, some morning rain and snow on Monday, 46 on Tuesday. Also want to note that tomorrow is the first day of spring, so naturally we are looking at snow.
RH 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
People honoring legendary Chicago baseball announcer Harry Carey with the 27th annual toast at Navy Pier yesterday. The toast also featured a White Sox curse-breaking ceremony. A ball from the infamous 1919 Black Sox World Series has now been returned to its original home in the Tribune Tower. And some big plans in the works for a former liquor store on the south side of the city that's in an area with a history of violence.
As Sharday Gray tells us, the church has bought the building near 79th and Cottage and hopes to bring new life to that area.
So the desire is that when they come in here, this will no longer be a liquor store, that this will be a grocery store.
Pastor John Hanna wants to swap liquor bottles for produce and meat on store shelves.
And this will be a total flip of this street.
Pastor Hanna of New Life Covenant Southeast says he and his church bought Happy Liquor and Foods 2 months ago. He won't say how much it cost.
So there's no mortgage on it. We're grateful that our church was able to pay cash for this. So now the build out is what we're looking at.
The store has been closed since May of last year. Police say 3 men were near the sidewalk outside the liquor store when they were approached by 4 men who drove up in 2 cars, ran toward the store, and started firing. 2 men were injured and 1 died. Pastor Hanna says the mother of the man who died now goes to the church.
And so it's in honor of her sons, one of the storefronts or the offices upstairs will be named after him because we don't want his death to be in vain.
Pastor Hanna says it will cost a couple of $1 million to renovate the building. The funding will come from numerous sources, including grants and community partnerships. Not only will the store provide fresh produce, but he'd like to turn the upper level into an office space, housing a dentist, doctor, and therapist.
Open it up and say, we declare this corner.
We do a prayer on the 9, and we've been doing it for, this year will be 15 years. So imagine, we've been walking past this building praying for 15 years, and now we can say, we don't have to walk past it. We can stop by it.
I'm happy it's going to be some type of substance here that's going to be good for the community.
Pastor Hanna says this isn't the only store he has his eye on. He says this is one of many pieces of property the church will buy to revamp the community. Reporting in Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood, Sharday Gray, CBS News, Chicago.
Our thanks to Sharday. And Pastor Hanna says he'd like to revamp the store within less than a year. We'll be right back with today's top stories. Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at the stories we are keeping an eye on today.
And we begin your nonstop news with a deadly shooting on a CTA Red Line platform. Police say 2 women were arguing at the 69th Street stop when one of the women pulled out a gun and shot the other. This happened around 10 last night. No one has been arrested.
An investigation is underway in Aurora after a shooting during a traffic stop. It happened at Broadway and Hazel. You can see a shot-out Honda sedan surrounded by police vehicles and crime scene tape. Aurora police have not yet said who fired the shots early this morning or if anyone was injured, but we will continue to follow this investigation.
And Governor Pritzker is holding a roundtable today to talk about how the Trump administration's cuts are impacting Illinois farmers. It's part of Stand Up for Illinois tour. He'll speak with leaders, local reps. The roundtable starts at 1:30.
One final look at your 7-day forecast and the alerts for today. So we've got a couple of showers, non-severe thunderstorms out there, but we are on alert for severe thunderstorms between 1 p.m. until 9 o'clock. Damaging wind, hail, and multiple tornadoes are going to be possible during that window there. Overnight tonight, snow swings through, a couple of inches of accumulation. If you are going to be traveling in the early part of Thursday morning, you've got some really nasty wind on top of that, so visibility is going to be poor while the snow is falling out there. A couple of inches to a half an inch of snow, not a big snow, and really not a sticking snow either. We'll be at 41 by the end of the day, 50s for Friday.
Whoa. A reminder, we're still looking for the best hot dog in the Chicago area. Who's got it?
Well, tell us your favorite hot dog joint, and one of them will get the title of Chicago's top dog. We're taking nominations from now until Friday. Whichever restaurants get the most entries will make it into our March Madness style tournament and compete in the Sport Pepper 16. So make your nomination on cbschicago.com by searching what else? Top dog.
Top dog. Help us figure out who's got the best hot dog around this place. All right, thanks for joining us here on the news at 9. Always appreciate you being with us. Your local news continues on our stream.
Have a great day, everyone, and stay safe.